Welcome back. I'm Steph, and today we are going to make an easy, delicious stir fry with some tofu, some red cabbage, some broccoli, and we are going to toss all that up in a sweet chili sauce. So let's get right into it, starting with the tofu. So I'm just going to squeeze a little bit of the water out of this tofu block, and then I will wrap it up in a kitchen towel and squeeze it a little bit more. We don't need to press it under weights or leave it for any extended period of time. We're just getting some of the excess water out. By the way, if you want to follow along with the recipe, I will link it in the description below. Okay, now let's take the tofu back out and chop it up. You could make these pieces as big or as small as you like. If you cut them small, like I'm doing, you're gonna get more crispy surfaces, but it will take a little longer to fry the tofu because you have more pieces, more surface to fry. Anyway, I am moving these tofu pieces over to a large container with a lid, and then I will add half a tablespoon of low sodium soy sauce and half a tablespoon of rice vinegar. And I'm gonna put the lid on here and shake it up. The benefit of using this container with a lid is that we can actually use less of the marinade, but because we can shake it up, we could still get it all over this tofu with very little marinade left over. And I will let that soak for a few minutes while I mix up my sauce. So I've got 2 tablespoons of low sodium soy sauce, a 1/4 cup of water, a tablespoon of rice vinegar, 2 tablespoons of sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, half a tablespoon of cornstarch, half a tablespoon of grated ginger root, and I'm using 1 tablespoon of what should be sambal ulek, but I couldn't find that here, so I'm using sambal jengkol, which is a little bit different and spicier, but it's still chili based, and sorry if I pronounce those horribly. I should also be adding half a tablespoon of minced garlic, but somehow that didn't get onto my grocery list, so there is no garlic this time. And you will notice that my jar that I'm using has a lid here too, and when you're trying to cook dinner quickly, just being able to shake things up can save a lot of time and energy. You do want to make sure that all your cornstarch is dissolved though, because if it's not, we will end up with lumps in the sauce. All right, now let's get back to our tofu. I'm adding some peanut oil to my wok, and I will turn the heat somewhere around medium high. Now I'm gonna take a piece of tofu and coat it in cornstarch and then drop it in the pan. Please don't follow my example here. The safest way to do this is with tongs or chopsticks, not your hands. And you also do wanna make sure that your tofu pieces aren't touching, otherwise they might stick together. So I will keep adding tofu to the pan until my first piece is nice and golden brown on the bottom, and then I'm gonna start turning my pieces. Depending on how much oil you have in the pan, you might only need to fry 2 sides of each piece to get all the sides crispy and golden, but if not, you'll probably wanna keep turning until the tofu is crispy all around. And once they're fully fried, I will just set all my pieces in a shallow bowl here. By the way, you could also bake your tofu. It won't be quite as crispy, but it is easy, it uses less oil, and it is still delicious. You just want to put your cornstarch coated pieces on a parchment lined baking tray and bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes, and you want to flip the tofu pieces halfway through the 30 minutes. Okay, so my tofu is done now, so I'll just add a little bit more oil to my wok and start stir frying my veggies. I am using 2 cups of chopped red cabbage and 3 cups of broccoli florets, but you can use any veggies that hold up well, that won't release too much moisture when they cook. So bell peppers, carrots, snap peas, mushrooms, green beans, baby corn, all of these would work well here. So we're just gonna cook these veggies for around 4 to 6 minutes, basically until they're tender but still crisp and colorful. And then we're just going to add our tofu back in, toss it up a bit, and add the sauce. And we just want to keep stirring and cook this long enough for the cornstarch to activate and thicken up the sauce. And that is it. You could serve this with rice like I'm doing here. You could put it in a tortilla or a flatbread, but it's so delicious you could also just eat it on its own. And I will put some basic nutrition info here on the screen in case you want to know that stuff. The full nutrition info is at the bottom of my recipe on my website, and the link for that is in the description below. Alright, well, I got some sauce on my shirt, but it's me, so of course I did. But we finally made it, and it is time to taste test this stir fry. So let's see how it turned out. Wow, this is so delicious. The combination of the soft tofu with a little bit of crunch on the outside, and then the veggies, which are tender but still a little crunchy as well. And then toss up in that sauce, which is a little salty, a little sweet. Mine was a little spicy, I've got some kick in there, but really, really delicious. Perfect for the weeknights when you don't have a lot of time. Try it out, let me know what you think. Well, we have come to the end of another recipe video. I want to thank you so much for watching, for liking, for subscribing. I really do appreciate it, and I cannot wait to see you in the next one.